doing today?
Doing good. How you doing?
Welcome to the Wormsloe Garden.
Thank you.
We're planting the food crops of the three cultures that merged here in the 1700s. Native Americans, English settlers, and the enslaved Africans who were forcibly brought here after 1755. Each group brings a unique food culture to the southeast, and by combining the foodways over the last 300 years, we get what's called Southern cooking, the good stuff.
I was gonna say.
So if y'all have a moment,
Absolutely.
happy to tell you about what we're growing. If not, just walk through the garden and watch out for the water.
No, let us know.
Oh no, the water
Is that
might
sprinkler
feel nice.
authentic to the time period?
It is the most marvelous thing. As you notice, you see the magic water rope?
Yeah.
It runs through the forest. There's a pipe that comes up from the ground. You turn a handle on it, and water miraculously spews forward.
Oh my gosh.
I am overwhelmed.
It's magic.
It is. Now, if I was dressed in 18th century costume, that'd be even more fun.
Yes.
You gotta learn to play the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is corn. This is our three sisters bed for the Native Americans. The three sisters are corn, bean, and squash, planted together in a systematic and symbiotic manner so the plants will help each other. Plant your corn first. Corn gets to be about 4 inches tall or hand high. You begin planting your beans around the base of the corn. You can see the corn's been planted in kind of corn circles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when the corn's 4 inches tall, we plant the beans in the ditch around the corn. See, the beans are beginning to come up in several places.
Why do you put the beans and the corn next to each other?
I'm getting there.
Oh, I'm rushing.
Yeah.
You're rushing.
I'm too excited.
I'm glad you are. Just all things will be explained in the right time manner. All right. So the corn is coming up. It's growing. Well, the beans are vine beans, so they need something to climb on. So the beans are going to climb the corn stalk. There's your answer.
There we go.
Now,
Need to be more patient.
beans need to be shaded from the early sun, so corn's big leaves shade the young beans from the early summer sun. Corn's roots are slightly exposed, so bean helps stabilize corn against the wind and the rain. And then bean captures nitrogen from the atmosphere and returns it to the soil for use by corn, bean, and squash. And then us humans, we consume the corn, bean, and squash, and we exhale the nitrogen into the atmosphere. The beans capture it again, so it repeats the cycle. In about 2 to 3 weeks, in those triangle areas between the corn circles, we'll plant our squash.
Oh.
Squash will send out vines with big leaves, and that'll act as moisture retention and weed prevention. Now, this is a very ancient planting technique.
Yeah.
And we know that because of corn. I'm going to get sciencey on you here for a second.
Oh, you're good.
Corn has a unique isotope called carbon-13. Carbon-13 can be tracked in human and animal remains.
Yes.
By tracking carbon-13 in human and animal remains, we find out that corn came into the human diet 20,000 years ago in the mountains of South America.
Yeah.
1,000 years ago, corn came to the coast of Georgia. In fact, it is almost like a marked line between pre-corn and post-corn. And corn is in everything we eat.
Oh, yeah.
It's everything we eat, everything we drink, and even what we drive.
C13 is the one that's used for carbon dating.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Exactly.
Do we still grow a lot of corn in Georgia? Because I feel like it's a lot of soybeans, cotton.
It depends upon the rotation of the crop. Now modern agriculture has you rotating your crops. You do corn one season and soybeans the next. And the reason you do that, I've already told you. You know what it is. What is it?
It's because the soybeans will help. It's like a symbiotic relationship with the soybeans and the corn, and the corn will help shade the beans, and the soybeans.
But there's an element that I told you about that gets put back
Nitrogen.
into the soil. Bingo. There you go.
Oh, quiz! I got it.
He is paying attention. It's good. He's worth keeping.
Yeah.
Too
I'm
late.
still, yeah, truly.
All right, 1733. The English come to Georgia. What do the vegetables the English bring with them? Peas, for one. They would have great barrels of peas, dried green peas. This is a double-duty food stock. because you could soak them, boil them, and eat them. Or you could save them, plant them, and in 6 weeks you got more peas, because peas come up fast. Also, the English brought with them a lot of our root vegetables, turnips, parsnips, carrots, onions, radishes. Potatoes are not in the diet yet. Also, the English bring a lot of the leafy green vegetables, such as lettuce, cabbage, kale, turnips, Swiss chard, broccoli, cauliflower, arugula, and fennel. Noble Jones grew fennel here on the plantation and sold it to the people of Savannah as a medicinal one. Because fennel will not settle down, upset stomachs, and with the quality of water and probably food quality of the 18th century, you had a lot of upset stomachs.
What's your excuse today?
I'm about to say, we might need to eat more fennel now.
You don't know yet, you know. Now, the Africans were forcibly brought here after 1755 when Georgia became a royal colony. Have y'all seen the Wormsloe movie?
No.
In the museum? Go watch it. It's a 13-minute movie and it explains a lot of things, but I'm going to tell you about the 4 basic principles of Georgia Foundation. There were to be no African slavery. It said African, no ownership of African slaves. Secondly, no distilled alcohol, so you could have beer and wine, just no whiskey, gin, rum, or things like that. No Catholics, because England at the time was a Protestant country engaged in warfare with the Catholic countries of Spain and France. And then finally, no lawyers.
Well, your sister's
Yeah,
out. Yeah,
I
he's
like
happy
this.
about that one.
I mean, all 3, you know, the 4 prohibitions, they could have left the first 3 in place. I'd be happy if they had left the lawyers in. But anyway, so 1755, you're enslaving Africans and bringing them to Georgia. Now, people 300 years ago didn't eat like we do today. We are multicultural connoisseurs of food. So 300 years ago, hello, how y'all doing? Good, we're in the midst of a garden talk. If y'all care to jump in, and we'll start from the beginning for you in a minute or 2. Anyway, you have your Africans, and you want them who know how to grow rice, because that's where the fortunes were made in the Southeast in the 1700s, was cultivation of rice. So you enslaved people from Mali who ate rice, okra, black-eyed peas, collards, peanuts, sorghum. You load your slaves on your ship. You load your fresh foods on the ship at the same time. You're going to transship across the Atlantic Ocean in a hot, humid environment with fresh food and no refrigeration.
Yeah.
We know it's going to happen. And you eat that food as long as you can. And then when you get to the New World, the ports of Charleston, Savannah, Wilmington, you off-sell your slaves. Thanks for coming by. You sell off your slaves. You clean out your ships. You scour your ships out, clean them totally. And that gets everything out of that ship. And that includes any seeds. Now, the seeds are thrown into areas like this, into dump areas. Now, seeds, this is a moist, humid environment, warm too. African seeds take hold, just like they would at home. They begin to grow. Slave peoples are out doing their jobs. They see these foods growing. They harvest them. They take them home. They eat them. They save the seeds. They plant the seeds in their slave garden, because each slave house had a little slave patch of ground for a garden, and they begin to grow. Let's drop back to Mrs. Noble Jones, Mrs. Sarah, who came here in 1736. 1736, coming from downtown Savannah to Wormsloe was like going to the far side of the moon, because there was nothing here that was, and Savannah was a wilderness. I've got to turn the water off. That can wait. Savannah was a wilderness. Mrs. Sarah had to cook for her family of 4, and women do the cooking, so she also had to cook for the 16 Marine boatmen that were brought here. She's got a group of 20 she's got to cook for. And probably, if I know how Marine boatmen were, there were probably 6 or 8 followers that came with them. So she's got 30 people she might have to cook for. She needs help in that kitchen. Who does she get, maybe? Native American woman who knows about cooking with corn, beans, squash, the seafoods, the fish, the shrimp, the oysters, the crab.
Good stuff.
The good stuff. It's getting better. It's getting better. Let's fast forward to 1756. 6 African slaves have come to Wormsloe. Mrs. Sarah still has to cook for them. Now she needs more help. She gets an African woman, maybe, who knows how to cook with okra, collards, black-eyed peas, peanuts, sorghum. See where all this is coming together? Coming together to be called Southern cooking. Where are y'all visiting from?
Atlanta.
We're visiting from Atlanta. He's my coworker. He's in America for the first time. He's from India.
Cool.
Yes.
What part of India?
I come from Bangalore.
Okay.
Heard of it?
I've heard of Bangalore. I've heard
Yeah.
of the Bangalore torpedo, which was a weapon invented at the
Oh,
Bangalore.
wow. Even I didn't know that either, honestly.
So we've been trying to show him all the Southern cooking stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah.
now he gets a whole lesson in it.
Yeah.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Good. I'm finishing up a garden tour. If y'all want to just wait a second, I'll give you a chat.
Okay.
Anyway, while you're here, especially you, I want you to try fried okra.
We didn't even give him fried.
Well, that place we're going to has it.
That's
I'm pretty
fried
sure.
okra? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the reason I want you to have fried okra is because of a history lesson. Okra from the English. Okra from the English. Okra from the Africans. Cornmeal from the English. And the frying culture from the... Cornmeal from the Boy, I'm just messing this up. Okra from the Africans. Cornmeal from the Native Americans. And frying culture of the English.
English.
Thank you for coming by.
Yes,
Very
thank you for
so
telling
much.
to
us.
chat with. I want you to tell your friends about us.
Yes.
And write us a good review on social media.
Yes.
You got
Definitely
it.
do that.
This is already going on social media.
Well, thank you, sir. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
Yeah.
You too.
Thank
You
you
have a
so
blessed
much.
day.
Hey,
Yes.
Tom, walk through the garden. Just watch out for the water hose. How y'all doing?